Okay, last we have Assalamu alaikum, Bismillah Rahman Rahim. We have learned polarity, hydrogen bonding, cohesion, adhesion, hydrophobic interactions, and now it is high heat specific capacity. Water has the high heat specific capacity. Why? Because again, water has the hydrogen bonding between the molecules. So basically, heat capacity is what heat required to raise the temperature about 1 degree centigrade of 1 gram substance. So it is all depend upon how much the energy is required to raise the temperature up to 1 degree centigrade, but the amount of the substance is specific, that is obviously 1 gram of temperature. So heat is required to raise the temperature of a substance about 1 degree centigrade. The next one is, or we can say that the amount of the number of calories, the number of calories 1 kilogram or fixed amount of a substance, that is 15 to 16 degrees centigrade, that is 1 degree centigrade up to 1 degree centigrade, that is actually defined the heat heat capacity of a water molecule. So we know that 1 calorie actually is equal to 4.18 joules. So 1 calorie of water is equal to 4.18 joules. That means it is the high amount of energy heat capacity. Why? Because hydrogen actually is involved in destructing or breaking down the bonds of these hydrogen bonds. So when the temperature increase, these bonds are breaking down. So a minimum amount of change in temperature, a minimum amount of change in temperature leads to high heat reservoirs or high heat capacity. So it means when there is a low amount of there is a little bit change in temperature, but there is a large amount of heat will be retained in the water molecules. Why? Because the remaining heat will be used in the breaking down of the water bonds, the hydrogen bonds between the water molecules. So basically, many hydrogen bonds that link water molecules help water absorb heat with a great change in temperature. And when water cools down, heat is released. So what is the use of this heat capacity? As a minimum change in temperature retains a high amount of heat in the water. As you can see near the sea or coastal areas, in hot that cool breeze come from the sea. Why? Water is getting the high amount of heat, sand, but when it is coming towards from the coastal areas, it will give you the cool breeze, or we can see another process, that It retains your body temperature. For example, a person is made up of fully water. A person is made up of fully water means 70% cells are made up of water. So what happened if the cold, if the outside is cold, so the internal body temperature is retains due to this heat capacity in the water. Due to this heat capacity in the water, water will remain in the body, and it will retain the internal temperature of the body. As water has the heat, water retains the internal body temperature. Why? Because water keeps the energy, water keeps the temperature, water keeps the heat in it, retains the heat in it, and it is not immediately cooled down. It takes times to be cooled down. So when water is the basic part of your body, so temperature cool outside, it will not affect your body immediately, because water keeps the temperature in itself. Water keeps having the heat capacity. This heat retains in the water, which keeps your internal body temperature warm, and it is mostly helpful to for any sudden thermal changes in your body, or it is also called as thermal stabilizer. Thermal stabilizer. What the water is, the water is a thermal stabilizer, but because it keeps the heat in itself. With a very low temperature, it retains a lot of heat in it. Thanks. This is all about the heat required to raise temperature.